During the 2016 Marvel Comics event Civil War II, the story climaxed with a confrontation between Tony Stark Iron Man and Captain Marvel Carol Danvers. Everything ended when Carol beats Tony Stark so bad that it appeared that he had died. In reality, he was in a coma, but the world effectively thought he was dead at the time.
As the event wound down, Marvel began promoting a new Iron Man in the form of 15-year-old engineering prodigy Riri Williams, who took the name Ironheart with the book still being called Iron Man. The MIT student came to Tony Stark's attention after she used school equipment to construct the first version of her version of his armor.
We're really not covering Riri Williams today. Instead, we're covering the other person that tried to assume the mantle of Iron Man at this time. Longtime supervillain Victor Von Doom.
This was not the Dr. Doom of old, however. Gone was the horrible physical scarring, the personal vendetta against Reed Richards, and the desire to take over the world. That all vanished when Mr. Fantastic gained omnipotence and healed his longtime rival during the 2015 Secret Wars event. Now Doom was trying to make good, even going as far as to step down as leader of Latveria.
Doom had actually been working with Stark in the background, assisting him in tweaking and upgrading the Iron Man armor alongside a scientist from Cambridge named Dr. Amara Pereira, who was also occasionally Stark's love interest. As for the Fantastic Four, well, in story they were on something of a hiatus, with Reed wanting to spend more time with his family traveling the universe, leaving the Thing and the Human Torch on Earth. How would they and everyone else react to Dr. Doom Iron Man? Well, let's find out in Infamous Iron Man Volume 1, Infamous.
S.H.I.E.L.D. director Maria Hill has been abducted by the villain Diablo, who intends to extract all sorts of government secrets via a highly advanced truth serum. There doesn't appear to be much hope for her, as the only person who could possibly formulate some type of counter serum is Reed Richards, who's currently missing. Of course, Diablo has underestimated the abilities and desires of Victor Von Doom, who appears and uses his knowledge of science and magic to neutralize the villain. It's not very clean, though, as a taunt from Diablo results in Doom literally blowing him to pieces. He then sedates Director Hill and leaves her to be rescued by S.H.I.E.L.D. forces, promising that the embarrassment will not get out. That being said, Maria Hill isn't going to go easy on Victor Von Doom once she awakens. From there, Doom goes on to Cambridge and Dr. Amara Pereira. He confirms that Tony Stark is gone, though that doesn't necessarily mean dead, and he wants to provide some emotional support for her, as the two are close. That being said, if Victor is going to make Von Doom a good name, maybe he needs some of Tony Stark's panache. Before he can go into further detail, forces from S.H.I.E.L.D. arrive, driving Victor to teleport away. Dr. Pereira is then forced to deal with Ben Grimm's interrogation techniques.
Yes, the Thing is working with both S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Avengers at this time, because this was the point where Marvel was reportedly trying to downplay the Fantastic Four because they didn't own the movie rights.
Doom teleports to one of Tony Stark's labs where he's greeted by an AI version of Tony. Victor explains that he's there to become the new Iron Man, whether Stark likes it or not, before armoring up in a new grayscale armor. As he takes off, Victor Von Doom fails to realize that he's being watched by someone from afar, and that individual is hoping that Victor has actually turned over a new leaf. Meanwhile, the Thing has moved on to the Latverain embassy in New York City to attempt to locate Doom. He threatens the existence of several vases before finally accepting that Victor Von Doom is no longer leading the country and moving off elsewhere. As for Doom, he's touched down in Bolivia to acquire a new central processing unit from one of the Mad Thinker's androids.
The Mad Thinker is actually a crime boss who has constructed several android lackeys to steal technology from the likes of Reed Richards. His most well-known creation is the awesome android who eventually left him to become a paralegal.
Doom offers the Thinker a chance to go straight and work with him on helping humanity, which the Thinker then rejects, instead activating several androids to attack Doom. Doom is left no option but to armor up and blow everything away. As he leaves, Doom warns a couple of kids to stay away as he deals with some scragglers. Of course, the kids are just filming this entire incident on their phones. Doom then heads back to England and Dr. Pereira's flat, where he spooks the young scientist, inadvertently getting shot in the process. While Doom attempts to magically heal the wound, Dr. Pereira brings him inside and tries her best to help tend to the things. Dr. Pereira attempts to explain the visit from S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Thing from earlier, only for Ben Grimm to suddenly come crashing into her apartment. Doom and the Thing then begin brawling out into the streets, smashing all of Dr. Pereira's possessions, including her car, in the process. The next thing Dr. Pereira knows, she's awake in a bedroom located in Switzerland. She finds Victor Von Doom repairing his armor outside, and he explains that this castle is his new home. Dr. Pereira was knocked unconscious during the fight, and Doom brought her back here for her own safety. She's free to leave, but she can expect to be brought in by S.H.I.E.L.D. for questioning, as she and Von Doom are now inextricably linked despite her protestations. When asked why exactly Victor is doing all of this, he just basically relents with one only answer.
In a nutshell, everything Victor Von Doom has done, from his Romani upbringing to his study of both technology and magic, to his eventual conquering of Latveria and lust for world domination, has basically been out of a quest for both power and stability and hasn't really led to much personal enjoyment. Now he's trying to find personal fulfillment through actually trying to help people altruistically.
Amara points out the obvious. Victor Von Doom isn't being altruistic, he's still being selfish, even if he's technically helping people. She leaves in a huff and starts to go home. Meanwhile, Ben Grimm is in Latveria searching the remains of Doom's old castle. He knows Doom isn't there, but maybe there's some clue as to where he could currently be. However, when he enters an inner chamber, the thing's rocky epidermis begins crumbling and there's no cream filling inside. The perpetrator soon steps forth from the shadows and reveals herself to be none other than Cynthia Von Doom.
Cynthia Von Doom is Victor's mother, a Romani sorceress who was married to Latverian Baron Werner Von Doom. In an attempt to protect Victor and ensure his success in life, Cynthia made a protection pact with the demon Mephisto that resulted in her death and resulting damnation. This set Victor on the path to try to resurrect her and thus redeem her in the process. This in turn led Victor to suffer his horrible disfigurement, which put him on the path to villainy.
Back at the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier, Maria Hill is getting grilled on the phone by her mother when the call is interrupted by Victor Von Doom suddenly appearing on the vessel's bridge. Doom is there under the auspices of peace. He wants the thing off his case and Dr. Pereira left alone. Hill points out that saving her from Diablo does not automatically clear Doom's name, and he's under arrest. Whatever leverage Hill has falls apart when an agent lets slip that the thing is in Latveria. Doom leaves to investigate and Hill fires the underling. Doom arrives in the land he once ruled to find cities blown to pieces and child soldiers wandering the streets. Obviously, he's not pleased and goes looking for the man he left in charge, General Karadik. He locates the general being protected by several of Doom's former Doombot guards.
Have I ever actually covered Doombots on this show? I know they've popped up in a few stories here and there, but I can't remember if I've ever actually dedicated any segments to them. Basically, Doombots are basically robotic servants / decoys for Victor that he uses to occasionally attack people or to just mislead them into thinking he's been killed. Though occasionally they wind up going rogue and attacking people, and he has to try to find a way to turn them off their sentience.
Knowing all he does about the Doombots allows Doom to make quick work of his automated employees. That in turn gets him his meeting with General Karadik. The general is supposed to oversee a peaceful transition to an elected leader, not a military dictatorship. Karadik points out that Doom left and isn't in charge anymore. Doom orders Karadik to appoint a woman named Angela Koror chancellor and set up a proper free state, or face the consequences before heading to Castle Doom.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Doom finds the trail of pebbles leading to the molting Ben Grimm. The thing tries to explain what happened, but Doom already knows that his mother's presence is in the building. The next thing Ben knows, he wakes up on the helicarrier with his skin restored. Maria Hill points out that the thing was found unconscious in the wreckage of the lab. He says that Cynthia Von Doom is alive, and that Victor was in extreme disbelief over Cynthia, not believing it to be her initially, and the two fought until she talked him down by saying he was proud of him.
Basically, the deal Cynthia made with Mephisto was for Victor to one day lead his Romani tribe to a protected homeland of their own. It wasn't really for him to become a conquering tyrant bent on world domination with a blood oath sworn against Reed Richards.
Now, with Victor being Iron Man and apparently on the heroic path, Cynthia can finally be at peace. That being said, Victor demands the thing be let go, and his mother acquiesces. That's the last thing Ben Grimm can remember, and as this is happening, S.H.I.E.L.D. forces begin overwhelming Latveria, looking for either of the Von Dooms and arresting Karadik along the way. In reality, Victor is back in Cambridge, where Dr. Pereira is questioned again by S.H.I.E.L.D. and fired by the university soon thereafter. He mentions the encounter with his mother and explains that Cynthia vanished soon after restoring Ben Grimm. He knows someone else is behind all of this and tracking his every move. And it turns out that someone is none other than Reed Richards.
No, this is not that Reed Richards. I don't know which one it necessarily is, as I initially thought that this was the Reed Richards from the Ultimate Universe, who actually did become a villainous figure known as the Maker. However, I can't seem to find any evidence to really support that.
Word of Doom's actions with the Mad Thinker begins spreading throughout the villain community. Bentley Whitman, aka the Wizard, is trying to enlist the help of AIM and MODOK to break the Thinker out of S.H.I.E.L.D. custody to mount an offensive action against Doom. Unfortunately, that's going to prove rather difficult, as it turns out Doom has just completely walked right into the Wizard's headquarters.
We actually talked about the Wizard all the way back in the first episode of the Random Trade Review, where we covered a Fantastic Four story that tied into the Avengers Disassembled event. That being said, I really wouldn't recommend looking up that episode. I wasn't taking very good notes back then, just trying to do everything off the top of my head. Anyway, Bentley Whitman was an inventor who used his technologically advanced inventions as part of a magic act. He eventually turned to crime out of a combination of boredom and an obsession with Johnny Storm, the Human Torch.
The two begin fighting throughout Pittsburgh, which brings S.H.I.E.L.D. into the matter, with the Wizard exclaiming to various onlookers who are filming things on their phones that he's fighting Dr. Doom and not Iron Man. Doom is then distracted by a rather bizarre vision conjured up by Reed Richards that distracts him long enough for the Wizard to knock him out and run away. Doom awakens to find S.H.I.E.L.D. forces led by Sharon Carter standing over him. She bluffs and says that Maria Hill isn't with S.H.I.E.L.D. anymore, so any deal he had with her is off. None of this matters, though, as Doom just takes off and flies away. That being said, there is a trump card as news reports begin flooding in, causing Riri Williams to suit up and take off from Chicago.
And that concludes our look at Infamous Iron Man Volume 1, Infamous. How was it? Well, on the plus side, I do really like the artwork in this. I do think it's actually an evolution from Alex Malev's work on Daredevil. There, it was very dark and gritty and grimy, which suited the Hell's Kitchen atmosphere, definitely. But I don't know how well it would translate to an overall superhero story. This case, I think it's a little bit cleaner, it's a little bit lighter, and it still looks really good and has some gravitas to it. And I do like some of the ideas explored here. I do like the idea of questioning how pure Victor Von Doom's motives are in this situation, as well as the fact that Victor seems to be targeting old Fantastic Four villains. Unfortunately, that's kind of where the compliments end, as well. Victor Von Doom is one of the greatest comic book villains in history, if not the greatest comic book villain in history. As a hero, he's just boring. It is so repetitive and dull, him just going around saying, I'm a good guy now, I'm trying to redeem myself. See, I'm a good guy now, I did this. See, I did that. It's really not entertaining at all. And while the character of Dr. Amara Pereira is interesting at times, it's basically because she just reacts to everything Victor does. It's just Victor says, I did this, and she said, why did you do that? It's just a little underdeveloped. In fact, this whole thing just feels really underdeveloped overall. Like, I know Brian Michael Bendis is a master of long-form storytelling, and, I would certainly point to his runs on Daredevil and Ultimate Spider-Man as plus sides to that, but this case, it just led to a very, very underdeveloped and humdrum, mediocre first arc. I have to give Infamous Iron Man Volume 1, Infamous, a C. And with that, let's see what we'll be doing next time on the Random Trade Review.
Hey guys, remember you can help support the channel at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcat productions. There you can request a trade to be put in the randomizer, aka the cardboard box. And as always, remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.